Oni, Sego, Tanse, Bonjour, Bonjour, and greetings from Turtle Island, Canada. Welcome to the Celebrations of Nations. I'm deeply honored to be with you tonight and to offer a few words of welcome to everyone residing here on Turtle Island and beyond. As an Anishinaabe elder, I have the privilege tonight to share with you our time-honored tradition that is practiced far and wide amongst the Indigenous peoples of Canada and North America. And that tradition is opening every important event by first acknowledging our mother, the earth, and the responsibility we have to the care and keeping of our beautiful blue planet. In accordance with our teachings, we honor all the diverse and many cultures and people who over time have made this land their home. We must honor not only the land, but also the water and all of the creatures that are sustained by our mother, the earth. A great mystery created the universe and fashioned a blue geosphere, a radiant planet, the wondrous earth, the mother who gave us birth, the genesis of all that we hold dear. With all the billions of stars in space, only the earth could create the perfect human birthing place. A little sphere of cosmic dust was the spark of spirit given us. In all the years of her existence, with benevolence and generosity, she provided for our subsistence and never needed our assistance. But now the world is in distress due to unrestrained excess. Nature reveals that true progress is possessed by every plant and tree that echoes every breath we breathe in a symbiotic symphony of connected sustainability. In the present tsunami of climate change, the earth may never be the same. With 8 billion people and mouths to feed, the fires are burning. There's less earth and air to breathe. We must conserve and preserve our rivers, savannas, and forestry to ensure our own continuity. We must activate, contemplate, restore, and regenerate the vitality and abundance of our birthplace. We don't choose where we are born. We are the outcome of a cosmic storm. Our journey is to search and find the natural order of the divine. Joy and enlightenment is what this wisdom brings. Adore and cherish all living things. This cradle of our precious birth and our sacred relationship with our mother, the earth. And today, in light of recent events, it is incumbent upon us also to remember the innocent victims of residential schools. I wrote and shared this poem with you as a eulogy to the stolen children and stolen souls of residential schools. Often, when I walk alone among the forests near my home, I hear a faint whisper in the trees, possessed with an insistent urgency. We are, the voices say, the silent victims of a stifled crime. Our bodies lie in unmarked graves. We are the victims of a madness, the casualties of rage. We are, the voices say, the slaughtered innocent residential schools. Their wickedness was our apocalypse. The four horsemen of our demise, who came like a whirlwind of destruction, pale riders with evil in their eyes. We are, the voices say, the disappeared, the missing witness, who saw the face of their real intent behind their arrogant benevolence. We lived in terror and died in fear of neglect, abuse, and suicide. And now we lie in fields beside the institutions where we died. Our souls and spirits and bodies left unclaimed, no cross or marker bears our name. The government pondered, the churches devised a perfect solution, a flawless disguise. Educate the stolen children even to their death. Kill the Indian and the child without regret. Heathens need no place to rest. As buffalo bones were left to bleach beneath the prairie sun and sky, so too the souls of children, stolen from their homes, were left to perish without an honor song, without an honor dance to say goodbye. This was the first real genocide. And now the institutions of church and state, whose promise was to educate, apologize for their mistakes and distance themselves from that embrace that produced such venom and disgrace. These children, innocent victims, like lambs led to the slaughter, the churches, schools, and government slew our sons and daughters. I seek a memorial to these slain ones, a garden or sanctuary where I may lay a wreath, some place to kneel in wisdom and in grief, to honor the memory of those that died. We, the generation that survived, we need to witness to those yet unborn that your spirits were never broken, that in your silent courage, suffering, and pain, we learn to set aside the shame and to live our lives in triumph and in pride. And now with chant and drum, we solemnly proclaim that when we assemble at powwows, work or play, we will dedicate a moment as we pray to smudge with cedar, sweetgrass, smoke, and sage to the memory of those dear lost children who lie in unmarked graves. Let us pause at this time for a moment of silence. Thank you, and miigwech.
Miigwech, Elder Duke Redbird, for opening Celebration of Nations' 5th anniversary with a land acknowledgement acknowledging our beautiful Mother, the Earth, and all of the natural world. He definitely gave us some pause to reflect on the true meaning of acknowledging our lands and how one should deliver this acknowledgement. So for that, I'm very grateful. Stolen Children and Stolen Lands is a poem that Duke wrote back in 2008. 2008. It's taken till 2021 for Canadians to face the ugly truth of what happened to our people. This is not an Indigenous issue, but rather a Canadian issue. But please know, we all need to work together to create a better unified nation that's based on friendship, peace, harmony, balance, and done for the right reasons so that our 7th generation can thank us. Good evening. I'm Michele-Elise Burnett, Indigenous Makwadodam, and Niagara, and I'm from Niagara, sorry. And my name is Michele-Elise Burnett. I am Métis Algonquin, Bear Clan. And I am just so grateful to have a few people in the audience this year. This is the, I guess is what we're calling our hybrid. A few people and lots of people out in the world watching us, so I want to say hello to everybody. Aniyenkwe, bonsoir, sego. What a wonderful evening to be together. It's beautiful outside, and we are celebrating 5 years of Celebration of Nations all together. We have much to be proud of, and we have so much to celebrate together as a community. This gathering only amplifies the commitment by Niagara, the City of St. Catharines, and the Performing Arts Centre, and of course, our dynamic duo, Sarah Palmieri and Annie Wilson. They have constantly worked by our side in collaboration with us and also with the greater community. 5 years ago, we hosted our first Celebration of Nations, not knowing that it was going to become a yearly event. Nor did we expect that the PAC would announce that Celebration of Nations would be having ongoing programming here at the Arts Centre. So here we are, 5 years later. Now we feel much more part of co-creating our shared future here in Niagara. We feel welcome, present, engaged, validated. Our community is on the rise and we're flourishing with powerful, innovative contributions. You just need to look around and listen to some of the incredible businesses that are coming up here in Niagara. It's something that we can be so proud of, and I know there's so much more. We have Cheekbone Beauty, Lofton, One Dish with One Mic. That's to name a few. And I only know that as we continue to find these platforms and to give our people a chance to participate in these incredible events, there's going to be so much more that's going to develop. We celebrate because we have created a proven template based upon understanding the importance of building a strong, respectful, cross-cultural society and partnerships, which continue to highlight the incredible achievements by our Indigenous people. Collectively, we have filled and supported our community with love, esteem, confidence, empowering each other to dream, and then take those dreams and turn those dreams into reality, into goals, and take those goals and turn them into reality. Celebration of Nations started with a dream, a vision, which is now reality. It became reality because of the strong, respectful, transparent relationship with a non-Indigenous organization, the PAC, their staff, the volunteers, and specifically Annie and Sarah, who realized the importance of offering their platform for us to have our voices heard, our stories told, and so that we can be seen. And that's been always an issue, is that a lot of times our people are not seen, we're not present. Now we are. And none of this was done with any hidden agenda by them. That's what makes this so beautiful. I want to say that dreams do come true. And together, we as Indigenous people need to dream together. We need to look at that goal of coming together as Indigenous people of Turtle Island. And we need to think about one day, not too far from the future, we will be part of every single aspect of governance, policies, procedures, government, schools, libraries. Our voice will be everywhere. And I know it will be. I look at the youth that we have. And tonight, for example, we have the Strong Water Youth Singers coming up for the first time. These are kids 5 years ago that stood up here with their moms and dads, and they sang at their side quietly. Today, they're going to sing with pride. That says a lot. That's our next generation. They are proud to be Indigenous. So what we have created together depicts without a doubt the Truro Wampum approach. And it's being put into action, and we're going to continue to create action all together.
Sego, everyone, and good evening. It's a delight to have some human beings in the audience tonight. Last year, we were just looking at a couple of texts out in the theater. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm the artistic producer of Celebration of Nations, and we're really excited about where things are going here. Celebration of Nations is regarded as a highly regarded national and even international gathering of Indigenous arts, cultures, and traditions. This is really a milestone year for us, our 5th consecutive year of exceptional expressive arts and intellectual programming. Each year, a new theme is conceptualized and introduced, guiding our curatorial team in the selection of featured artists and the shaping of presentations, performances, and the production of original programming. This 5th year is, in many ways, a year of culmination in which we aspire to synthesize and accentuate past themes while incorporating existent and emerging considerations, not the least of which is a reflection upon Indigenous survival, vigilance, and vision made possible by the application of Indigenous cultural, technical, and ecological knowledge. As a result, the theme that has appropriately emerged for this landmark year deals with on seeking wisdom. Wisdom, one of the 7 Anishinaabe grandfather teachings, is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. It stands as an aspirational attribute desired of elders and leaders of our society to embrace evidence-based information, understanding, common sense, and insight, processed by the use of unbiased assessment and analysis, compassion, experiential self-knowledge, ethics, and benevolence, all applied with the objective of securing a viable future for the 7th generation to come. Several programs have been developed for this year's Celebration of Nations, which reflect upon our theme of seeking wisdom.
Exactly. This year, I think that all the programming, a lot of it just focuses on seeking wisdom. Our teachings stress that every day, every decision that we make today Whether it be personal, whether it be at work, whether it be at play, whether it be on the government level, whatever decision we make today, we must consider the impacts it will have on all living things for the next 7 generations. Wisdom is when we take the time to think analytically, critically, with the key goal of ensuring balance and harmony with the natural world. So we're going to dive into some great conversations over the weekend with the Matriarch Circle, Youth Moccasin Talks, and together we will send out powerful healing frequencies during the drums across Canada to close out Celebration of Nations. We're going to drum and send out the healing vibrations and frequencies to the children's spirit that never made it home, for unity and peace in this country, and for the next generations. Today, we celebrate becoming great ancestors.
This year, we find ourselves at an intersection featuring multiple crossroads. We remain in the midst of a deadly pandemic, which has devastated the performing arts industry, which is why it's so great to see you all here tonight. In this regard, last year's Celebration of Nations was actually considered a huge victory by us. Produced as a 3-day virtual event, it attracted more than 36,000 online visitors, and we hope for much the same this year. We learned a great deal about conferencing and media technology, but we also learned how much we long for human contact and for shared social experiences and beautifully designed architectural spaces. Many of these challenges remain, and as a result, we are building several programs that take place outdoors, including live cultural performances. We will also continue to develop virtual programs and use, where appropriate, the FirstOntario Performing Arts Centre's exceptional concert and performance theaters for limited attendance and standout webcast performances, such as our headline original concert production that we're featuring tonight, Treaty, a Reconciliation Revelry.
I want to take a few minutes to give great gratitude and thanks. Again, I know I'm full of that today. I don't know what it is, but I am so grateful, and I want to share this with you. Celebration of Nations may not have come true if it wasn't for everyone in this room, the viewers at home, and of course, our community, our Indigenous community. And it's such a heartwarming feeling to know that we're 5 years old, and it stemmed with a dream. But like I said, this dream could have just faded away if we didn't all come together as a community to build this. So it's with great gratitude and thanks, Chimigwich Nyawes, that we've done this together. This has been a collaborative, and you should all basically thank each other. This is something we have done together, and we're going to continue doing more. We're going to keep dreaming. We're going to set those platforms even higher. But now I want to celebrate our diverse, deep-rooted culture, traditions, and heritage. So let's celebrate walking together as Indigenous people alongside our settler friends. Let's celebrate the strides that we are creating to pave the way for a transformable and sustainable cross-cultural society that will be built on respect, integrity, and friendship. Let's celebrate the Indigenous people of Turtle Island, our resilience and our resurgence. We celebrate our beautiful and powerful teachings, our stories, our culture, our Indigenous ways of knowing, healing, and creating. We are grateful for all of the guests who have come to Celebration of Nations over the years and have left an imprint. They all have made us richer in all 4 directions of the medicine wheel.
And we've made considerable and remarkable strides developing effective partnerships with some major agencies and institutions, including the Niagara Falls History Museum, the Niagara Parks Commission, Parks Canada, Plenty Canada, an Indigenous organization, and cities and municipalities such as St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, Thorold, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Town of Lincoln, and how this networking has helped coalesce and engendered heightened awareness, acceptance, and support of Indigenous peoples throughout the Niagara region, making it a national example of excellence which sets the stage for even greater things to come. And there are some amazing new developments underway that will incorporate in future Celebration of Nations programs. Musically, Celebration of Nations has featured amazing Indigenous and allied talent over the past 5 years, performing during our September event and at hot ticket concerts throughout the year. Those who have joined our curatorial fold on special projects include Derek Miller, Kenny Lee Lewis of the Steve Miller Band, Charlie Lowry, Martha Redbone, Josh Miller, Rob Lamothe, Harrison Kennedy, the Ollivanders, and many others who've responded to the new paradigm of Indigenous music curation brought about by the Smithsonian Institution's Up Where We Belong exhibition and subsequent follow-up documentary, Rumble, The Indians Who Rocked the World, which we've used as a conceptual and structural platform for developing special concert productions.
Celebration of Nations Gathering has been made possible with the unwavering support over the last 5 years from our inaugural lead sponsor, Brock University. We will now take a moment to share a welcome from Robin Bourgeois, Acting Vice Provost of Indigenous Engagement at Brock University.
Tansi, Kinanas Komiten Ao Ao. I'm Robin Bourgeois, Laughing Otter Caring Woman, Acting Vice Provost, Indigenous Engagement at Brock University, and welcome to Celebration of Nations. For those of us who haven't met before, I'm a mixed-race Nahia Iskway whose Cree family comes from Treaty 8 territory, which is the Lesser Slave Lake region of northern Alberta. I was born and raised in Syilx and Splatcheen territories of British Columbia, and am connected to the Six Nations of the Grand River through my 3 children. Brock University has a long, rich history with the Haudenosaunee civilization, Six Nations Confederacy, and the Anishinaabe civilization, Three Fires Confederacy. Participating in events like Celebration of Nations is one way that Brock is taking a leadership role to implement the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I encourage you to learn more about Niagara's Indigenous cultures and histories and hope that you enjoy the celebration.
Thank you to Robin, and thank you from the bottom of our heart to Brock University for your unwavering support. In addition, District School Board of Niagara, and today we welcome Meridian Credit Union and the Toronto-Dominion Bank to our family of lead sponsors, Chimigwich. We are also very grateful to our community partners, which are the Niagara Regional Native Centre, the Fort Erie Friendship Centre, the Niagara Regional Métis Council, St. Catharines Library, and the Welland Historical Museum, the Niagara Falls History Museum, Grandmother's Voices, 101 Dewagan, Living Heart Legacy. I mean, there's so many more. I know that we're probably missing more. Please forgive me.
In addition, our gratitude goes for the support of the Niagara Region's Investment and Culture Program, the City of St. Catharines, Canada Council, Department of Canadian Heritage, Freedom Mobile, Niagara Catholic District School Board, Niagara College, Gals Gas, and the Dr. Shimizu Foundation. We're also thrilled to welcome our global partners who continue to help spread the message and intent of Celebration of Nations locally, nationally, and globally.
And that's a big big shout out to Frog Radio, the Gord Downey and Winjack Foundation Fund, the 50/50 Performing Arts Collective, the Imperial Theatre in New Brunswick. There's a whole bunch of letters. A-C-A-P-A-C-O-A. Do you know how to say that, Tim?
Sorry. Big, that's a
There's a
big
prize
acronym.
if you can say it. Ontario presents, and to each of our global partners that you can see up on the screen at this time, and once again, a big shout out also to Say Magazine. And now,
it takes a village, doesn't it?
pardon me?
It takes a village to develop these programs.
There you go. And now on to Celebration of Nations Outstanding Achievement Awards. I need a drum. Does anybody have a drum? Drum roll. Thank you. See,
There
this
you
is
go.
interactive, land-based
Beautiful.
participation.
In this, our 5th year of Celebration of Nations, we enter our 3rd year of presenting the Celebration of Nations Outstanding Achievement Awards. These awards were designed to reflect the artistic and intellectual programming that has come to define and distinguish this innovative Indigenous expressive culture event.
Recipients span a broad range for those involved in the arts and traditions of the respective Indigenous peoples, while also acknowledging the prominent roles and contributions made by our allies and accomplices towards the truth and reconciliation. Again this year, we honor the intelligence and the talent of 6 highly accomplished and inspiring recipients. So, let's begin.
Let's do it. Okay,
Drum
our
roll.
first award. Every now and then along comes an exceptional new performer who resonates with talent and vitality and who instantly captures the interest and fascination of audiences. Our recipient of this year's Outstanding Achievement Award for Performing Arts fits aptly within this description. As a proud member of the Manitoba Métis Federation with Scottish and German settler ancestry, she occupies a prestigious position in the ensemble of the Shaw Festival Theatre, the 2nd largest repertory theatre company in North America. Artists of stature selected for the Shaw Ensemble, even those who might fit within the emerging category, are multi-talented performers. Such is the case for this performer, who has been cast in numerous classic plays, such as Gypsy, which leverages her incredible voice, to other great works such as Brigadoon, Sense and Sensibility, Les Miserables, and Peter Pan. She holds a Bachelor of Music in Classical Voice Performance from the University of Manitoba, and in addition to the Shaw, has performed on numerous stages across the country. The Winnipeg Free Press said of her work, she, quote, is terrific in the lead. She's also got a marvelous voice, which is showcased to great effect. Moreover, her family and Indigenous values are firmly rooted in place. When asked about what being an artist means to her, she answered as follows. To me, being an artist is the result of work that started generations before me. I am very privileged to get to live my dreams, and that means I must continue to grow, learn, and train as much as I possibly can to honor my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. For her expansive talent and humility and respect and acknowledgement of her elders, we honor in the category of Outstanding Achievement in Performing Arts, Julie Lumsden.
I want to say a big thank you first and foremost to my parents, Janice and Thomas Lumsden. I want to say a big thank you to my siblings who inspire me each and every day with their support and love, Sarah, Jordan, and James. I want to say a big thank you to my whole community back in Winnipeg, Manitoba, my theater community, my friends, my family, and everyone who has supported me along the way and given me big lessons. I also want to thank all the female mentors I've had in my life, specifically Kimberly Rampersad. Thank you so much for blazing the trail and showing me how it's done. I wouldn't be here without any of you, and Marcy, thank you.
What a beautiful soul she is.
She absolutely is.
Her art can be seen at the St. Catharines Ministry Building in the form of an elaborate 6-foot hand drum in Queen's Park, Toronto, and in fact all over the world, from Switzerland to France to Japan, throughout her homelands here in Turtle Island. As an Indigenous artist of Ojibwe and Mohawk descent, residing here in Niagara Falls, Ontario, she has earned a well-deserved accolade and recognition. Earlier this year, her achievements were highly rewarded when she became Niagara Falls Arts and Culture Wall of Fame inductee. She's also an Alistair Young Endowment Fund recipient and has been recognized for her many good works with the Indigenous community and within the region relating to issues such as anti-human trafficking and missing and murdered Indigenous women. With great love for her traditional roots, she furiously creates works directly related to the issues concerning her people and heritage through a vast array of imagery. With an emotional attachment to each piece, she attempts to bring forward the truth surrounding Indigenous people throughout the beauty of art. Love and light, truth and reconciliation guide the way for her. For her creativity, for her refined aesthetics, and for her ever-inspiring commitment to visual expressions and to the human condition, we honor in the category of Outstanding Achievement in Visual Arts, Leona Sky Grandman.
Buzu ani sego scano. Thank you so much for this award. It's a great honor. I love my community, I love my people, and thank you so much.
Okay, for our next award category. Known for being a renowned educator of Indigenous cultures, histories, and arts, whose visionary work shaped the programming of several influential educational institutions, including the Indigenous Knowledge Center at Six Nations of the Grand River, the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of the American Indian, where he served as Assistant Director for Public Programs, Institute of American Indian Arts Museum in Santa Fe, where he served as Director, the Native American Center for the Living Arts, where he served as Museum Director, Niagara Falls Museums as an historian and advisor, and as a master lecturer at several post-secondary institutions, including McMaster University, State University of New York at Buffalo, Six Nations Polytechnic, and First Nations Technical Institute, among many others. Our next recipient has led a life virtually unmatched in effective and influential productivity. Additionally, as an accomplished artist, researcher, and writer, he became an essential resource for numerous organizations involved in the broad programming and educational activities centered upon the bicentenary of the War of 1812, and was instrumental in this regard, working with us to establish the Landscape of Nations Commemorative Memorial in Queenston Heights Park. And as an Indigenous Innovation Specialist, is currently advising on a number of projects for Mohawk College and with LON 360 on book publishing, exhibit development, and heritage site planning. For his tremendous archive of accomplishment, we honor in the category of Outstanding Achievement in Intellectual Advancement, the remarkable Rick Hill.
Thank you. Well, I don't know what to say. I'm actually kind of dumbstruck. But maybe that's not such a good thing to say for somebody who's being awarded some award about my intellect. So let me think of something really smart to say. I accept this not because I have an extraordinary mind, but I've had an extraordinary life. I was lucky. I was born in the 50s, an era when the Haudenosaunee were kind of reawakening, reasserting themselves. So I met a lot of really great people. I had a lot of great teachers. My life really changed when I met Oren Lyons, the Onondaga historian, John Mohawk, a Seneca historian, and Barry White, Seneca Faith Keeper at the University of Buffalo. They set me on a path, and that path was about self-discovery. Who am I as a Haudenosaunee person, as a Ongwe, as we say? And so that journey has led me to many different places, museums, collections, people's homes, all across our territory. Everywhere I went, people shared things with me. I think they shared things in the hope that somehow this knowledge is going to continue. It's going to be able to impact on future thinking. So I just kept my mind open. I also have to thank my parents. They were really supportive of free thinking in our home. They didn't try to get me to think any way other than the way that Rick needs to think. They certainly guided me, gave me some examples. You know, my dad was a hard-working iron worker, and he taught me about building, that you have to keep building things. So I look at knowledge as part of our building plan. It helps us get a firm foundation and connection to the earth, helps us grow into the kind of people we want to be, and helps us leave a living legacy, something that will last for generations, that knowledge will never disappear. And all I've done is help to assemble the great words and wisdom of my ancestors, the people I've met, and put them together in a way so that people can enjoy them once again. So I appreciate this very much, and I will treasure this for the remainder of my days.
We come to another prestigious award, and one that carries particular Indigenous credentials. The award for Outstanding Achievement in Empathic Traditions. Our recipient has worked with her Indigenous community for over 30 years to help people become stronger and healthier. In terms of service, her experience could be rendered visually as a majestic mountain. She has served as president of the Niagara chapter of Native Women, president of Survivors House of Hope, and president of the Fort Erie Native Friendship Centre. She currently serves on the board of directors for the YMCA of Niagara and the board of directors for the Ontario Federation of Indigenous Friendship Centres. Where she finds the time, we have no clue. But I would guess that it comes from somewhere deep down in here, some indomitable sort of quest and passion for her people. That's just a guess. And I'm sure that it's also built on a strong educational foundation. She graduated from Buffalo Academy of Visual and Performing Arts as a top music student with a major in vocal music, and went on to achieve an advanced degree in psychology from Temple University with specialization in addiction and childhood sexual abuse. She currently serves as executive director for the Fort Erie Native Friendship Centre. Starting at the role in 2014, she has worked to facilitate local paradigm shifts about Indigenous peoples and building stronger community. She believes in the vision and mission statement of the organization to enhance all aspects of Native life while extending friendship to the community and working together for a stronger tomorrow. She walks that talk. A proud mother, auntie, daughter, sister, granddaughter, and a great, great friend. She believes in the strength of women no matter which role they take in society. Hailing from the United Nations of the Tem, Bear Clan, and a citizen of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, she is a strong believer in her people, her Indigenous traditions, and in the value that there is no higher honor than to be of service to the people. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? I'm not done. Wait. Just in case you thought you might guess. For what we extend not only this award, but our love, our admiration. As a result, we honor in the category of outstanding achievement in empathic traditions to the remarkable, one and only, Jennifer Doxtator.
I want to thank the Celebration of Nations for this amazing award. Honestly, this belongs to community, not just to me, because without the people and our beautiful people, there is no way that I would be able to enjoy what I do so much day in and day out. Thank you, Celebration of Nations. On behalf of myself and our community, have an excellent gathering this year.
And just as a bit of a spoiler, that's not the last you're going to see of Jennifer tonight, so stay tuned. It's impossible to overstate the contributions of our next recipient for language and culture, a man who has led a life of exemplary service to his community and to all who have sought out guidance and support. As a Turtle Clan Mohawk from Six Nations of the Grand River, Haudenosaunee Territory, he represents cultural continuity. He is a fluent Ganangehaga speaker, raised by his grandparents, Harry and Beatrice, who were also fluent speakers. Ever since he was young, he has remained dedicated to restoring and revitalizing Indigenous language and culture through teaching, curriculum development, public lectures, and community programs and ceremonies. In 2000, he co-wrote the Native Languages curriculum document, grades 9 through 12, for Ontario's Ministry of Education and Training, and in 1994 was a key contributor to Literacy Ontario's Mohawk Language Standardization Project. He is the author of several language textbooks, including The Teaching, The Way We Speak, Ganangehaga, Mohawk Language, and is currently completing a comprehensive thematic Ganangehaga dictionary. Before his foray into Ganangehaga teachings, he spent 25 years as a commercial artist and business owner in Toronto, Ontario. For being a Haudenosaunee knowledge keeper who consistently acts in accordance with his culture's principles and values of the good mind, and who has generously, graciously, and tirelessly assisted thousands of people to retain their language, we honor, in the category of outstanding achievement in language and culture, the extraordinary Deahande Frank Miller.
What kunu walado so gwego dogaskezi wago wazenzi niete waskat again ha negigo waskinder hotne. I just wanted to say thank you very much. This is something totally unexpected, and I think it's all the people that need the award, all those people that have participated in our language programs and the like, who have become very familiar with our language. It has been really an interesting journey to be able to come this far and to be able, more so, to be recognized. I think the recognition is perhaps the biggest thank you of all. So I thank all of you, and I think all of you deserve an award too, all of those that have studied language. Daita.
For his strong commitment to Indigenous peoples, we recognize our final recipient not only for his intelligence, but his wit, and also for his commitment and dedication to ethics and shared values, to his high standards of conduct and faithful partnerships. In our region of Niagara, he began a term at Brock University President and Vice Chancellor on August 1st, 2017. Before joining Brock, he served at Brandon University as President and Vice Chancellor from 2014 to 2017, and also as Provost and Vice President Academics from 2013 to 2014. Prior to his time at Brandon, our recipient served several academic positions, including as the Dean at the G. Raymond Chang School of Continuing Education at Ryerson University, As Associate Dean at York University's Atkin Faculty of Liberal and Professional Studies, as a visiting scholar at University of Washington, and as Associate Professor at York University. These are all extraordinary qualifications for an extraordinary man. He received his PhD in economics from the University of Western Ontario, and having received his master's and bachelor's degree in agricultural economics at the University of Guelph, he also holds a chartered professional accountant designation. Incredible man. I don't know where he had time to do all this. Besides academic achievement, his career includes several years by the Ontario government and role as senior analysis at Treasurer Board Division, Ontario Ministry of Finance, and executive assistant to Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, and Rural Affairs. He is passionate about the role of post-secondary education and supporting regional developments, and has served on numerous committees, community boards, and helping champion significant community developments initiatives. And although he recently began a new position at George Brown College, we couldn't allow him to leave the area without expressing our knowledge of his contributions, his sincere appreciation for everything he has done to create bridges of understanding, to advance truth and reconciliation. For all of this and so much more, we honor in the category of outstanding achievement for the Two-Row Alliance, Dr. Gervin Ferron.
I'm Gervin Ferron, and I am proud and honored to be the recipient of the 2021 Celebration of Nations Outstanding Achievement Two-Row Alliance Award. The Celebration of Nations is part of a long-term vision to build on the two-row wampum that promotes all nations walking together in parallel with respect, compassion, and understanding to cultivate an inclusive community for our shared future. I believe this teaching sets a vision of possibilities and a sense of inclusion for us all. I would like to thank the individuals who nominated me, the committee members who considered my candidacy, and to each of you who have made this moment possible. The two-row wampum sets out a vision of nations walking together in parallel with respect, compassion, and understanding. I believe the Celebration of Nations embodies this theme, and I am pleased that my work and efforts over the years have contributed to the possibilities and opportunities for all of us and for each and every one across the community. I am proud and will always be inspired to work in partnership with Indigenous communities with respect and in acknowledgement of nothing about me without me. I believe the two-row wampum outlines this opportunity for how we can work together to promote an inclusive society and inclusive communities for our shared future. Thank you, Celebration of Nations, for this outstanding award. Thank you so much.
Gervin's video may have been a little bit blurry, but let me tell you, his message, it was extremely clear. In another clear message to Gervin, I would like to present another clear message to Gervin, that we're going to miss you very much.
Yeah. was asked to share a few words to talk about the relationships that we have with our communities and the outside communities. And some of those foundational pieces are built on having open dialogue and communication. And that's what I wanted to share tonight, is that all our awards, all the recipients live by that open dialogue. But a lot of the work that's been done at Brock University is through open dialogue, and that really was pushed forward with Gervin. So we wanted to share a song for Gervin, but all the recipients as well. Yahweh, thank you.
Yahweh. Gary Parker, everyone. So, Yahweh Gary, and thank you to all of you for being with us this evening to kick off the 5th Annual Celebration of Nations. We actually kicked off Celebration of Nations early this morning by lighting the sacred fire with our fire keepers Fred Bowering and Brian Kahn, and a sunrise ceremony with Elder Dave LeBay. The fire will burn all weekend in the backyard of the PAC, and all are welcome to hang out with the guys and the folks there throughout the weekend. So we're going to have a few minutes here, take a bit of a break, and then we'll be back, get up, stretch, have a chat, and then we'll all come back together in a few minutes for a new concert experience that we produced, Treaty, a Reconciliation Revelry, which will feature an opening performance by Strongwater Youth Singers. Thank you.
children were being taken away from their homes for residential school, for the 60s scoop, MMIWG, many different reasons. And this song is called Wildflower because there was fields and fields of wildflowers growing. And the kids, the children, were the ones that were spreading the seeds when they played. And after the children were taken, the fields never came back. This song has two leads, and the first lead is soft, and it's representing the mothers and the families telling their children to hide. Go and hide in the trees, hide underneath my skirt, hide anywhere, they're coming for you. And the second lead is loud, and it's sung with a lot of power because that's the mothers and the family, that's us calling them back. Where did you go? Where did they take you? Why aren't you coming back home? Hey,
Big thank you. 5 years ago, this group of singers stood by their parents singing, and they were about this tall. It's amazing to see them today standing here and gifting songs to the crowd. Very, very heartwarming. So let's give them a round of applause. Lift and support our next generation. Now you're in for a really awesome concert.
So, our big event of the evening is called Treaty, a Reconciliation Revelry, which explores Indigenous history by taking audiences on a journey traveling through stories of encounter and conflict to resolution, landing on uplifting notes of recognition, understanding, and respect. The program's stories and messages conveyed through video, narrative, and of course music are intended to provide audiences with the context for understanding Indigenous realities today. Film segments featuring Indigenous and Canadian leaders in civil society, education, culture, and the arts punctuate the concert, addressing themes identified by a select list of words, thereby building a story that seeks to pave the way forward for better understanding truth and reconciliation. But the concert is defined somewhat ironically as a revelry, which infers merrymaking and lively, noisy festivities. The irony of this event is such that it seems contrary to what one would expect and is perhaps a little jovial as a result, but it's also poignant. The sentiment and approach used draw from the skills and attributes of Indigenous peoples that have often included a tacit observation of unjust colonial policies and their ridiculousness, and the use of Indigenous humor to cope and survive. Listen very closely to the speakers on the videos, to the artists, and to the lyrics in tonight's show. Generating the energy that sustains this production is an ensemble of renowned, award-winning Indigenous and allied musicians led by the great blues artist Joshua Arden Miller. One situation deserves recognition. The Ollivanders female vocalist, Roxanne Rendell, couldn't participate due to the birth of her beautiful new baby boy. An unanticipated cesarean section kept her out of the lineup. However, stepping in to cover is our extremely talented, Outstanding Achievement in Performing Arts Award winner, Julie Lumsden. How about some applause for both Roxanne and Julie? Through this engaging concert, Treaty, a Reconciliation Revelry, seeks to focus attention on Indigenous contributions to Canada and the struggle to have appropriate acknowledgement embedded within the conscience of the country. Thank you.
When I think about treaties, I think about two nations that came together to form an agreement as to how they were going to live together, how they were going to interact, how they were going to trade, and how they were going to get along.
I think of treaties as formal agreements to treat each other in a certain way, to work together towards a common solution. It's a promise, it's a pledge, it's something that any honorable person would continue to honor.
A treaty is an agreement. A treaty is a binding agreement. A treaty is something that's worked on and agreed between two nations.
Well, when I think about treaties, the first thing that comes to mind is how they've changed over the years. Like, for instance, if you go back to around 1613 or thereabouts, Truro comes along and was really important at that time, which was a treaty between the nations and how they're going to be dealing with each other.
A remarkable thing to think of a treaty as being something that can last through centuries and perhaps needs to be revived and perhaps needs to be looked at again, but has a kind of reach back into history that we should cherish?
Oh, treaty. Well, respect, fairness. And there's no doubt that there's been many years of conversation on treaties throughout the entire country. And it all boils down to two words: respect and fairness.
The idea of an ally is such a beautiful one, and that you take the story of what I'll call Brocken Tecumseh as an example. It's so stirring when you see that example of people coming together and saying, I've got your back, you've got my back, and you know, what do we need in our lives all the time?
Ally means somebody who's in partnership with you. They are sensitive to your needs and you're sensitive to theirs.
So in the case of this part of Turtle Island that is now called Canada, it was allying with the British. And that was because the British had made certain promises to us that were favorable to us, and we could be favorable to them.
Things would have turned out very differently in the War of 1812 if the British had not been able to form alliances with Indigenous people. That the regular British Army was a very strong and powerful arm, but there were very few in number. Canadian militia, only a certain number of men could be drawn up. With the Indigenous people helping them out, they were able to successfully repel the Americans. And without the participation of Indigenous people in the War of 1812, Canada surely would have been absorbed into the United States.
Well, protocols to me are how we solve problems. So we have to come to an understanding of what is polite, what is respectful, what is meaningful, what is consultation, and that is agreed to by understanding each side's worldview.
Protocols are like the present-day Robertson's Rules of Order. They're a way to conduct business. Now, Indigenous peoples had their own protocols for dealing with other nations, nation to nation. And the Europeans wisely decided to use those same Indigenous protocols when dealing with Indigenous people, developing alliances and so on.
And we said we've got to have an agreement, and that's when we bring in the two-row. And the two-row says basically that we're not going to get into your boat, basically, and that's how we described it because that's how they came. And we're not going to interfere with your governmental system. We're not going to interfere with your religious system. We're not going to try to steer your ship. And that's what that was meant to mean.
I love standing at that council house and imagining the people who were there before and how they conducted themselves and with what level of respect and acknowledgement.
Protocol is one of those words that keeps people on the straight and narrow in the best sense. You know, we talk about things like etiquette and protocol when we're growing up, and we think, oh, I don't want anything like that to restrict me. But actually, there's a good side to that, which says this is how we make sure that we always treat each other with respect. And if we don't do that, then we get into a real pickle.
When Europeans traveled across the ocean, there existed the possibility of balanced and hopeful relations with Indigenous peoples. One had to wonder, how would that relationship turn out? We had to be optimistic. We weren't sure where we were going. And we sail into the mystic. We were
little misty. On a far home road, I'll be coming home. On a far home road, you got a feeling. Don't have to fear it, and I just wanna rock your gypsy soul. Way back in the days, together we were four, baby.
how about that band? How about that band, huh? Good to have a band like this back in. Yeah, Blaine Bomberry on the guitar, Alan Duffy on the bass, Miles Evans-Branagh on the piano and the organ, and the one and only legend himself, Mr. Oren Doxtator on the drums. You know, when the British, certain alliances were formed based upon treaties and working together. You know, it only works when you work together. That's how treaties are supposed to be. This led to the defense and founding of Canada. Some canned heat, man. Let's work together. 1, 2, 3.
Prejudice is, well, prejudging something, obviously, but among many European people at the time, they regarded Indigenous peoples of any lands that they colonized as inferior some way to Europeans, that their customs, their traditions, their legends, that their way of living, that everything was inferior to the superior European way of living.
But yeah, if you were not seeing people as properly human or not respecting their knowledge, then, you know, and that existed. That prejudice was there for sure.
Well, there are prejudices very deeply baked into all humans, and particularly those who came across from Europe in the Middle Ages and later came with the prejudice that North America was a terra nullius, a land belonging to no one, a land of nothing.
In Canadian society, prejudice is still alive and strong. And that's the reason why we need to get the truth out more than we've been able to before. And so that is happening, but it's happening slowly. I mean, things take a long time to change.
Prejudice is an interesting one because, again, a lot of this is about not actually seeing the beauty of the world around us, including in other human beings. That in order for something to be beautiful, it has to be one way and one way only. And unfortunately, that is a very closed mind.
Well, society could rid itself of hate, but again, it would take an awful long time. The way I look at it is, I don't really understand the core of it. In other words, to get inside somebody else's mind, you would need to have the honesty, to be able to speak the truth, to say why you hate somebody.
Hate's an interesting word because it's very, very strong and it's meant to push away. And really, in my mind, hate is about the loss of humanity. And when that loss of humanity comes, then it allows behaviors and actions to follow that are really, really destructive.
Hate is such a comfortable feeling. We have to be really careful of it because it feels really good sometimes to feel hatred, because hatred is a form of self-righteousness.
Well, there's certainly a lot of hate these days. I mean, we have to, hate is ignorance, hate's fear, hate's pretty stupid.
Well, lies, in a formal sense, are purposely telling an untruth, telling something that you know is incorrect.
The number of lies that are told about Indigenous people is unbelievable, and some of them are subtle, and some of them are overt.
The really important thing about truth and reconciliation is to get an agreed upon set of facts, and mainly to say, this is what happened. This is what happened to me. And, look at it and face it and deal with it and understand it.
We all lie to ourselves every day. That's how we get through our days, is by not strictly telling the truth about everything all the time. And yet, life keeps teaching us over and over again that will bite us in the ass.
Prejudice and deceit often held sway, and those who coveted Indigenous lands and resources just could not help themselves. So this song is called Liar.
For your health, I take it all off of my shelf, 'cause I just can't trust myself. I'm a liar. I'm a liar, yeah. I'm a liar. I'm a liar, yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I'm Martin Isaacs. Back there on the drums, we got Ryan Michele-Elise. On the bass, yeah, you can clap for him. That's Ryan Johnson. Joining us is Rob Lamothe on guitar. And introducing the very talented Julie Lumsden.
For Indigenous peoples, our witness of the harsh treatment of peoples of color, Indigenous and Black, was astonishing. Here's a song by the legendary Shawnee musician Link Ray that provides that perspective.
Ice people, they're just made of ice. They don't treat their fellow men very nice. You wear your hair long as Jesus did. They'll crucify you. You're not part of the establishment. Stand up for your rights. They'll call you a fool if you don't go to war. You're not living by
Colonization really is a breakdown of any good system that we tried to maintain from contact, which was inequality between people, where there was respect and friendship, and there was mutual trust.
European powers at the time did not really recognize fully the sovereignty of Indigenous nations, and they felt it was their right, the British Crown, the French Crown, or whoever, to be able to take these lands and plant their displaced persons from their own country onto this land to colonize it.
There it goes again back to the two-row wampum. That was the anti-colonization situation where we said, we are who we are, and we expect to be respected for that, and to go on, to do whatever it is that we want to do, how we govern ourselves, what we believe in, how we proceed, and all of that is all about, it goes back to sovereignty.
The impact of colonization is, almost too much for me to even, comment on. I mean, the historic impact on people, which, I guess we hope we can start to change.
We talk a lot about decolonializing or decolonial theatre, and to be honest, I can't see the likelihood of that really happening, because colonialism is a period in history that we're not going to change. It took place. We live in the world created by it. We can't make a world that didn't have colonialism in it. We don't even have any way of knowing what that world would be. What we can do is make a post-colonial world that says, what do we want it to be given where we've come from?
Before the Europeans came, we really were sharing everything. We shared land, we shared resources, we had the dish with one spoon. All of those things are indicative of that sharing from nation to nation.
To most Indigenous people, owning land was a ridiculous concept, like owning the air or owning time. Owning land was something that couldn't be done. You could share the land, you could share the resources of the land. But, so in many of the treaties that were negotiated with the British, there was a different understanding of what those land cessions meant.
Greed is taking instead of asking. Greed is assuming instead of learning. Greed is being apathetic instead of empathetic.
And it's totally contrary to the dish with one spoon. Dish with one spoon says you only take what you need, you leave enough for the rest, and you keep the dish clean.
But humans are greedy, that people will take as much land as they can possibly get for whatever reason.
The Indian Act was as a work of art, in a sense. It ruled every section of Native life, everything.
The Indian Act has been incredibly destructive to our people because, again, it imposed an external view of who was and who wasn't Indigenous. It took away from our sovereignty as Indigenous nations.
The Indian Act is a peculiar document that, of course, is still with us today. And it represents the way in which British dealt with Indigenous people after the War of 1812, beginning in the 1820s and 30s. The Indian Act is later, 40 years later, but it certainly reflects the British policy towards Indigenous people.
Not only that, but it was a way to actually try to control our people overall and determine what we could and couldn't do. And again, it was a formation of not allowing us to be a part of the collective of what we had helped sponsor to grow here in this part of Turtle Island called Canada.
Indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere were left wondering, we're still here. What's happening here? What's happening here? our take on some Buffalo Springfield. Everybody look what's going down. I think it's time to stone blow. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, they get so much dead from behind. It's time to stop, baby, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. For the week, 1,000 people out in the street, singing songs and carrying on signs, mostly say, what if we're outside? It's time to stop, baby, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Strikes deep Into your life it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step on the line, they'll take you away. It's time to stop, baby. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Time to stop, baby. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Time to stop, baby. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Going down. Going down, 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 down. The best things in life are free. Anything gonna be free. I want money. What I want, that's what I'm money. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. Your love will let me such a thrill. Your baby, won't you pay my bills? I want money. That's what I want. I want money. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Willie Dunn, he was an amazing singer-songwriter, and he had a Mi'kmaq and Scottish-Irish background, and he had a lot to say about colonialism and greed. So this is his song, I Pity the Country. Country, I pity the state, the mind of a man who thrives on hate. Small are the lives of cheats and liars, of a bigoted news press, fascist town criers. Deception annoys me, deception destroys me, Bill of Rights throws me in jails, they all know me. Frustrated are churchmen for saving a soul man, the tinker, the tailor, the colonial governor. They pull and they paw me, they're seeking to draw me away from the roundness of the light. Silly civil servants, they thrive off my body. Their trip is with power, back bacon and welfare. Police, they arrest me, materialists detest me, pollution, it chokes me, movies, they joke me, politicians exploit me, city life, it jades me, Hudson Bay fleece me, hunting laws freak me, government is bumbling, revolution is rumbling, to be ruled in impunity is tradition, continuity. So I pity the country, I pity the state, the mind of a man who thrives on hate. And I pity the country, and I pity the state, and the mind of a man who thrives on hate.
Thank you. Well, the residential schools, that's a serious concern, has been all along. Because that was one of the lies that was given, at least to us, that it was considered back in the day a good idea to learn the white man's ways.
So residential schools really were the way to dispossess Indigenous people from their land, from their traditions, from themselves, and ultimately led to the murder of generations of families.
Boy, residential schools is such a, horrible, sad story, a real blot. And that sort of taking the Indian out of the child and ripping the kids from their parents, like, you don't know how to educate them. I know, people go like the way forward is education, but the way forward was not steal the kids, hand them over, allow them to be abused.
The legacy of residential schools is something that is very much in the national conscious today. I think for many Canadians, they were not even aware that these things existed. And the horror stories that came out of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission were quite frightening and quite shocking to most Canadians. And I think many of us are still wrapping our heads around that.
I have to say, I've been through an emotional roller coaster in the past month. Learning about what happened. And, that roller coaster consisted of, anger, sadness, being anxious, but ultimately to deal with something that is part of us, unfortunately.
Coming from abroad and not having heard about the residential schools really at all until I got here, I listened to people talking about them and thought we must be talking about the 19th century. And then I discovered that we were talking about the 20th century, and then I discovered that we're talking about during my lifetime.
Now we look at the number of children that are in foster care. There's actually more children in foster care now of our own people than there ever was in residential schools.
Genocide's quite a recent word for, unfortunately, a very ancient phenomenon that people since the dawn of time have thought that the simplest way to deal with the problem of that other lot over there is to wipe all of them out. And you can see it happening. You can see that if there wasn't a conscious attempt to wipe out every single Indigenous person, there was certainly an attempt to render that history absent.
Talking about cultural genocide versus genocide is actually a whitewashed view. So when we don't want to acknowledge, or when we want to maintain our superiority as a non-Indigenous system that operates within Canada, we're going to call it cultural genocide, because actually if you just lose the Indigenous part of you, then that's okay. You still have your person on you, you still have your life.
When you hear the words genocide, and you hear the words that we're speaking about today, it adds definition to what a residential school was. And I think us as Canadians have to accept that. It was part of our history. It is what it is. However, as I also said, we have the opportunity now to make new history for future generations to look back on.
With the discovery of mass burials of indigenous children at Indian residential schools, we should all be asking, what's going on?
said, brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. Oh, you know you've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, Father, Father, there's no need to escalate. See, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. Oh, you know you've got to find a way. Bring some love in here today. Oh, picket line, picket sign. Brother, punish me, brother, with brutality. Brother, talk to me, brother, oh, so you can see, brother, what's going on. What's going on? 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 Hey. Everybody thinks we're wrong. Who are they to judge us? Simply 'cause our hair is long. Yeah. Oh, you know you've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket line, mother, picket sign, mother, punish me with brutality. Mother, talk to me, mother, oh, so you can see, mother, oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, what's going on? What's going yeah.
What's going on, right? She wants to know what's up. Put your hands together for Tasheena Doxtator.
Of my life is still trying to get up of that great big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was meant brotherhood, oh man, for whatever that means. And so we cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out. What's in my head and I'm feeling a little peculiar.
try and get a great big hill of hope for a destination.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, I'm going to be doing a song by Leonard Cohen, and in the second verse, it says, "She broke your throne, she cut your hair, and from the lips she drew the hallelujah." And I make that a connection to what they did in the residential schools. They did such terrible things, and they used religion as something to hide behind and make it seem like all the things they did was okay in their own mind. But yeah, I'm going to dedicate this to my great-grandmother, who was a residential school survivor. Hope you enjoy. This is Hallelujah.
Well, I heard there was a secret chord David played me, please the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fourth, and the major left, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from the lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 Maybe there's the God above, but all I ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who drew you. But it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was James Wilson, by the way. Another big hand for him, please.
Indian residential schools created generations of trauma in Indigenous communities that persist today. This powerful song by Buffy St. Marie can be interpreted as a lamentation of this legacy.
My belly's a craving, I got a shaking in my head. I feel like I'm dying, and I wish I was dead. If I live till tomorrow, that'll be a long time. But I'll rise and I'll fall and I'll rise on Kodine, and it's real, and it's real one more time. Well, when I was a young girl, I learned not to care. Of whiskey, and from it I often did swear.
Truth, I mean, seems to be such an obvious term. It's taking the facts and forming an opinion based on those facts, and repeating that is telling the truth. But that requires, truth really requires unveiling all the sources of information.
People say truth hurts, and it does. But almost any change that we need to make hurts. And it's a change to face the truth. It's a change from our habits of our usual lives where we avoid it. So if it hurts, it's probably doing something good.
As Ungwahumwe people, when we talk about truth, it was basically a gentleman's agreement. It was a handshake, and it was really encouraged that you don't go back on your word.
People are starting to realize that, one, that our elders and our Indigenous communities were right all along, and two, how important it was for us to have been educated about this, and then three, therefore, why it's so alarming today, because most, if not many, people are just finding out about our history.
So Truth and Reconciliation, first of all, it was the way to start the conversation. And it wasn't the end. So while it was a report and it had 94 calls to action that were very neatly laid out, that was really, I always saw it as the responsibility of non-Indigenous people to implement those calls to action. Our responsibility is to tell the truth.
I think that reconciliation between mainstream society, let's say, and Indigenous peoples, but also people of color and so on and so forth, is absolutely crucial to the survival of this country into the future.
We're not qualified to be experts on reconciliation or how to make it happen. But one of the things that I've found myself thinking is you can only reconcile with someone if you really start from where you are and you really go to where they are.
Reconciliation is two-sided. So what we need to reconcile as Indigenous people is that we are all survivors of great tragedy. So we tend to look on the positive side, and we sometimes have minimized the pain that we've experienced as Indigenous people instead of calling it out. We actually need to be willing to feel that and to acknowledge that wrong was done to us. On the non-Indigenous side, they've got to hear those stories and start to look at things from an Indigenous perspective where they see us as human beings again.
When we as original people are talking about reconciliation, we've been in reconciliation for a long time. We have been going through a healing process, trying to reconcile with that emptiness that we have from losing our language, losing our culture, not knowing what our ceremonies are all about, and more. And it's deeper than that. It really hurts deep.
The work of Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission has been insightful and important. We hope it'll bring about change.
I was born by the river in a little old town. No, just like a river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living
gonna come. I go to the movies, then I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me, don't you hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes, we Then I go to my brother, and I say, brother, help me believe. But it winds up knocking me down on my knees. Oh yeah, I said change gon' come, yeah. Oh, there are times that I thought that I can last for long, but now I know. I said I know the change gonna come, yeah. Oh, I said a change gonna
Tasheena Doxtator once again. And, you know, to get through this, you say you gotta unleash your inner light. Warren Haynes called it soul shine. What I say?
someone alone. Now and then I feel the cold wind blowing through my aching bones. I think back to what my daddy said. He said, "Boys always tries to fall down." Sunshine, it's better than moonshine, damn sure better than rain. And the people don't mind, and it's okay sometimes. I'll let your sun shine, shine in the break of day. Sometimes this man can feel this emptiness, like a woman that's robbed him of his very soul. Woman too, God knows that they can feel like this. Oh, things don't go cold. You gotta let your spirit take control. Better than sunshine, it's better than moonshine, damn sure better than the rain. And the people don't mind, and it's okay sometimes. Gotta let your soul shine, shine through the break of day. Better than moonshine, damn sure better than the rain.
I would love to have some peace. I would love to live in a world where I did not have to worry about my physical safety, that I could go for a walk at any time, day or night, and not worry about being attacked. I would love to live in a world where I could interact in the ways that are normal for me and not worry about the next racial slur, judgment, some sort of prejudice being thrown at me.
I have days when I think that peace just isn't the natural human condition, and that really what we're doing all the time is striving for peace, but we must always understand that we have conflicts in our spirits and our souls that are always going to flare up, so we're always going to have to be ready to win peace again.
Yeah, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing really to have a country where you felt there were good relations and that the shame was over, hatred was over, distrust, all things that, you know, are valid and exist now.
Well, that's the kind of thing that we're talking about when we're talking about a good mind. So a good mind, when you're practicing all the aspects of a good mind, what you're automatically doing is you're bringing peace to yourself and you're bringing peace to other people.
Well, love in my language is ganalukwa. And what that means, according to what I've learned, is I sacrifice for you. That's very different. So that is in keeping with my leadership role, which really is the responsibilities that I carry. I am at the bottom and the people are on top.
You know, we talked about hate and how do you get rid of hate, but I mean, the wonderful thing, and all you ever hear, you know, when people sort of have final words or advice, you know, be kind. What they want in life is for people to love each other, sure. I mean, that is sort of, you know, the basic commandment that sort of seems so banal and cliched, but it is, you know, it's what you want.
For me, the act of watching a play together creates love, whatever that play is. It creates love because it creates the condition for love, which is the understanding of what we all have in common.
Love is the answer, in a sense. It's a different kind of love. It's the love of acceptance. It's the love of difference. It's the love knowing that underneath our skin, underneath our hair, we're all human beings. We all have blood running through our veins, and you know, we all have skeletons and all the rest of it. And we all, as far as I'm concerned, have the same origins. We were all placed here on earth to learn something. And if we learn love, I would say that would be our goal.
The important thing about solidarity is that it doesn't mean we all agree. We have to come together in spite of the fact that we are very different people. We all have our different agendas and attitudes and instinctive responses to things. We have to get past that and say we incorporate all of that into a shared desire to achieve a goal. Let's see if we can do it.
I believe we'll get to solidarity when we actually see each other as human beings first, when we see that beauty in one another, that we look past skin color, economic differences, gender, that's a huge one, even gender roles, and start to just look at people as interesting and beautiful and be curious about that again.
The solidarity to me requires everyone to work together towards a common goal. That there's a goal that we want to achieve, and that goal may again harken back to the two-row wampum, that we respect each other's cultures, we respect each other's ways of living, and we move forward on Turtle Island with respect, with dignity, and with a common goal.
Peace and love give me hope, and the two-row wampum gives me hope. And this is a song of hope. I went up to the mountain because you asked me to. Over the clouds to where the skies are blue, I could see all around me. Everywhere I could see all around me. Everywhere. Sometimes I feel like I never been nothing but tired. Like I'll be walking till the day I expire. Sometimes I lay down, no more can I do. And then I go on again, because you asked me to. Sometimes I look down, afraid I will fall. And though the sun will shine, I see nothing at all. Telling me softly, you love me so. That peaceful valley, just over the mountain. That peaceful valley. Get there, ever in this lifetime, but sooner or later, sooner or later, sooner or later, I will go.
Oh, give him some love. That was fantastic, man. Right on. We got time for one more, man. One more? Is that all right with you guys? Can we do one more for you? You guys have a good time today? We hope that we brought some insight to you in a fun way and an entertaining way. And we're going to finish this one off here. See, unity, togetherness, understanding, compassion, solidarity. Take a walk in my moccasin, I'll take a walk in your shoes. And when I sing my blues, your help is brand new. So much. The band, give a hand for the band. All right. How many is there of us? 42 of us on stage? Oh, man, so good. What do you think? What do you guys think? One more? We'll do one more. Can we do one more? Can we do one more in the back? If you mind, we do one more? All right, let's do one more. La 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 la, la la la.
Let's take some action on the TRC. All we need is solidarity. Why can't we be friends? 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 Well, I turned on the news today. I just hope it's gonna be okay. Why can't we be friends? 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 Everybody, why can't we be friends? 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 Freestyle.
Now, wisdom we describe as at-dokatsara. And that at-dokatsara is all about sensing something. It's all about feeling. So if I understand how you're feeling, that's wisdom. And if someone can understand how I'm feeling, then that's wisdom. And it has a whole bunch of other words associated with that, but that in itself is a sensation.
Wisdom, I think, comes from both experience and through listening. That you need to listen to what has gone on before, you need to read about as much as you can, and you need to tap into the experience of some of the people who have been down the road before and know what lies at the other end.
I think when you're younger, you think that there'll be a moment that will arrive when you will have wisdom, and then as you get older, you realize, no, I'm no wiser than I was, and I'm no nearer to having wisdom than I ever was, and maybe that's right, because it's only about the search.
There's so much wisdom to be learned, to be shared, but to be learned. And, you know, I feel so lucky over my years that I talked to so many great carvers and outdoors people and, you know, leaders in the Indigenous community, trail builders, you know, so much wisdom.
I think we seek wisdom by remembering what our grandparents said. So in my case, that's very easy. My grandparents, my great-grandparents, my great-great-great-grandparents. I'm fortunate enough to have learned from all of those stories passed down to me, and I get to take that as my responsibility and try to make this world a better place now, because I want my grandchildren to be able to have heard my wise words and to spread that out even further.
don't know